Hello, welcome to a short video on how to use the Agile Change Leadership Institute's unique capability approach and 30+ change practices with any change methodology you wish. I'm Dr. Jen Frahm. So you may have come to this video because you have either already got our Agile Change Playbook or perhaps you're thinking of getting it. Either way is fine. In our Agile Change Adventurer workshops and our playbook, we advocate for core Agile capabilities, namely continuous engagement, visual and transparent communication, and data-informed decision-making. Now, in our book, we map over 30 Agile change practices to those 3 Agile change capabilities. And the one thing that you will be acutely aware of at the moment is that change is changing. What we used to do in the change management space will not cut it in Agile environments. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that we have to throw all of our favourite change models and frameworks out. It does mean that we need to adapt our change models and frameworks. To do this, we're asking you to consider a 3-part logic. And the use of the word logic is deliberate. We're not giving you another process, another framework, or another model. We want you to think about the logic of what you do and how you need to adapt it. So it's a 3-part logic. The first phase is to map. What we want you to do is to map the 3 Agile change capabilities to your preferred change model of choice. So for instance, discovery, design, develop, deploy, and sustain is a pretty common change approach that works with waterfall projects and Agile initiatives. So you might want to start by asking the question, across my usual process steps, what is the optimum mix of the 3 Agile change capabilities? You might like to think about differentiating the capabilities by light, medium, and heavy, or perhaps you like numbers and you want to use a ratio or a percentage mix. It really doesn't matter. Perfection or being right is not the goal here. Thinking through your work is far more important. So for an example, I would usually make the discovery phase heavy on analysis, moderate on engagement, light on communication. Some of you, however, may have resources for heavy engagement. So this mix will change depending on the context of your organisation and what is available to you. You then need to use this way of thinking throughout all of your steps or stages. Then, using the Agile Change Playbook or perhaps your own toolkit, map the various practices to each of these mix of capabilities. The first time you do this, you'll end up with a very long list of practices against your own preferred change model. And that's okay, because there's 2 more phases of logic to be thinking about. So the next logical phase is to take your lovely thorough change methodology that you have in front of you and all those matching Agile change capabilities and Agile change practices and overlay with the following 4 questions. What are your business sponsors' OKRs? Which of these change practices will deliver on those OKRs? How many people do you have in your team? And what are their capabilities? These questions will help you identify which of the Agile change practices you can drop. So I've just mentioned OKRs. If you're new to Agile, this is an acronym that represents time-bound objectives and key results. It's shorthand for what is important to your sponsor. Now, when you start looking at your work through the lens of your sponsor's objectives, you will find that it gets easier to simplify your Agile change practice. And it is important to simplify. You'll be doing your Agile change practices in much shorter cycles than you're used to and with fewer people to do it. So for those who like an equation, this 3-phase logic looks like: take the mapping of change capabilities and practices against your preferred framework, add your sponsor's objectives, divide by your team capability and size, and lo and behold, you have your minimum viable change process. When you have your minimum viable change process, it makes it very easy to work with your Scrum Master or your Agile coach and establish what will be in your change backlog and how it will be managed. Again, it's really important to consider this as a way to think about your work and stay flexible. With feedback on each iteration, you can repeat this logic and swap in new agile change practices that serve you better pending the changes in objectives, team cadence, and deliverables. So there you have it, a way to think about agile core capabilities and agile change practices with your existing change model. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how this works for you. We'd love it if you send us pics or photos of your minimum viable change process. We'll be checking in with the Agile Change Adventurers, the community that's developed through the people who are all using the Agile Change Playbook, and we'll be really keen to hear what you're doing with it and how you're adapting it.